There you go. Yeah, more people begin to join us. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, so let's wait for some time and then we can go start.
Great. Christian, do we have an order of speaking you would like? Maybe you start.
I have a word order. So the first will be
Great.
Christian, Vasu, and Zara, yes, and then will be you and Sophie. So yes, thank you. I did, and I think so. Okay, so I think it's 6 p.m. and we can start right now. Okay, so good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone joining us from around the world. Welcome to our launch of the Language of Our Generational Challenge, a storytelling project for people and the planet, hosted by the UNEP Faithful Earth Coalition Youth Council. I'm Xue and I'm delighted to serve as today's moderator. This project celebrates the creativity, spirituality, and the leadership of young people of faith who are reimagining the narratives around climate action. So before we begin, just a quick note. This session will include short reflections, a showcase of project outputs, and an interactive Q&A towards the end. Please feel free to share your comments or questions in the chat. And to officially open today's event, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Yad Abmoli, the founder and the director of the UNEP Faithful Earth Coalition, to deliver his opening remarks. So Dr. Yad, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Shufei, and thanks to the Youth Council for organizing such an important event. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and good everything, everybody. Dear friends, colleagues, and of course, especially the young people here. Before I speak about the language of our generational challenge, allow me to share something personal. Probably some of you know that in just a few days, I will be leaving my post at the United Nations after more than 3 decades in service of humanity and sustainable development. It has been really the honor of my life to walk this journey with you and across, continents and nations and faith and communities. But let me be clear about this. This transition is not a farewell to our cause. Stepping down from office does not mean stepping away from my responsibility. If anything, it deepens my conviction that our shared duty to humanity, to dignity, to peace, and to hope is larger than any position and larger than any title. I may not no longer serve under the UN flag, but I will always serve under the far greater banner of our common humanity, our common earth, and our common future. And it is in this spirit that I feel privileged to inaugurate or open today's launch of the language of our generational challenge. So, dear colleagues and beloved young leaders and friends, today we are launching not only a project, but a movement. The language of our generational challenge is a movement of stories, of values, and of hope. It is a movement that says, in the face of the climate crisis, the answer is not silence or despair or division. The answer is voice, courage, and unity. At the Faith for Earth Coalition, and especially through the leadership of the Faith for Earth Youth Council, we have always believed that youth voices are at the heart of climate action. Not voices that echo what has been said before, but voices that create challenge, inspire, and reimagine. Voices that speak the language of dignity, justice, compassion, and hope. The language of our generational challenge is a bold experiment in shifting the narrative. It asks, what if, instead of drowning in fear, we told stories of resilience? What if, instead of repeating stories of division, we shared stories of cooperation? What if, instead of allowing greed and indifference to define us, we lifted up generosity and global citizenship as our guiding stars? This is exactly what this initiative does. Through storytelling, youth of diverse faith and spiritual traditions are building a global repository of hope. An interactive map will carry these stories across the world, showing how personal experience can become collective strength, how local action can inspire global solidarity. Friends, allow me to frame this in the values that are most urgently needed for our common future. The first one is about dignity. Every human being, every community, and every species has worth. Climate action is about safeguarding dignity for all. Justice means fairness across nations, between rich and poor, and across generations yet to come. And climate in action is injustice made visible. Inclusion and tolerance, our strength lies in diversity, in welcoming the other, in refusing exclusion or discrimination. Cooperation and peace, where there is division, there is vulnerability. Where there is cooperation, there is resilience. Compassion and empathy. Apathy is easy, but empathy transforms. To care for others, whether they live next door or across an ocean, is to safeguard our shared home. And generosity of spirit, of resources, of time. Greed destroys, but generosity builds. And courage to speak up. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity. Youth voices are the antidote to complicity. And vision, as we cannot afford narrow interests or siloed thinking, we need a comprehensive vision that sees the important 5 Ps of people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership as inseparable concepts. These are not abstract values, they are blueprint for action. And I want to speak directly to the youth here and those joining us globally. First, make a difference and never be indifferent. Indifference is the slow poison of our time. Choose action, however small, over apathy. Second, be bridge builders. In a world torn by conflicts and polarization, your role is to connect across boundaries of faith, ethnicity, or ideology. Build peace where others sow division. Third, use your stories. This initiative is a proof that storytelling can inspire change. Share your journey, your hopes, your fears, your innovations. Stories connect where statistics cannot. Fourth, practice global citizenship. Act locally, yet always with a consciousness of the whole planet, the whole human family, and the whole web of life. And five, guard the 5 Ps: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. Let them be the compass that guides your activism, your choices, your collaboration. Friends, we live in an era of profound challenges: the climate crisis, rising inequalities, conflicts, and the culture of division. But history teaches us that in moments of profound crises, people of vision rise to meet the challenge. And today, that mantle falls to the youth. The language of our generational challenge is more than a project. It is a declaration. It declares that your generation will not surrender to apathy. It declares that we will not accept greed, division, or exclusion as the grammar of our time. It declares that the new language will be written in dignity, justice, compassion, and hope. So let this launch not just be ceremonial, let it be catalytic. Let every story on this map be a spark that ignites another. Let every youth who shares their story also take one concrete action. Plant a tree, start a campaign, mentor a child, write to a leader, or simply change a habit. In the end, friends, the great challenge of our time is not whether we have the technology or even the resources to build a sustainable future. The challenge is whether we have the moral courage, the collective vision, and the spiritual will to act together. And so I invite you all, let us learn this new language together. Let us speak it boldly, share it wildly, and live it daily. Let the language of our generational challenge be the language that unites us, the language that guides us, and the language that gives our children and grandchildren not just hope, but a future worthy of their dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Iyad, for those powerful opening remarks and for reminding how youth and faith communities together can drive transformative change for our planet. And next, well, we're here from our Faithful Earth Youth Council co-chairs, Zara, Vasu, and Christian, who will share brief introductions and reflections on the council's collective journey. So first, let's go to Christian, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining us for this exciting event. Thank you, Dr. Iyad, for your leadership in this space and also for your inspiring words. And thank you to everyone who is joining this call and this webinar live, as well as everyone who will be seeing it in the future. It truly is a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, my time, and perhaps a different time of day for you. And that is the beauty of this group. My name is Christian Knoll, and I've been serving as the chair of the UNEP Faith for Earth Youth Council since May of 2024. So it has been just over a year now. And over the past year, I've been working with my fellow co-chairs, Vasu Bandhu, as well as Zara Ahmed, previously also our co-chair Hajar, colleague who is no longer with us on the council, but who served a vital role in bringing this project to fruition. And it truly is a pleasure to have the opportunity to share this flagship project with you all. This is the language of our generational challenge. And this project is designed to capture the essence of the Youth Council, whose mission it has been over the past 15 months to convene, equip, and amplify the voices of young people of faith in particular, taking action to address the climate crisis around the world. As Dr. Iyad said, this is not only a project, this is a movement. This project specifically captures the essence of what it is we are trying to achieve, which is to allow young people who draw on their spiritual traditions and faith narratives to give them the motivation to take action on what we have defined as our generational challenge. And so before we move into the presentation of the actual database, I want to give some quick remarks on the title and the vision behind this, and my co-chairs will join me in doing so. The first is a quick remark on the title. Language of our generational challenge captures two main messages. The first is the nature of the climate crisis, which we as a collective body, and I know as many young people around the world, see as the defining global issue for our generation. And the second message is the way that we make sense of this crisis, and that is through stories. Many of us have experienced this in international fora as well as in our own communities, that we tell stories about this crisis. We tell scientific stories about the reality of climate change. We tell stories about our solutions to it. Sometimes these stories are told with the intent of inspiring fear, other times to inspire hope, but usually they revolve around inspiring action, bringing people together and giving them the tools needed to take action to address this international crisis. And what unites these stories is a focus on the language that is used to communicate a specific message. We as a council are also focused on the impact that language has. But what makes our council and our mandate unique is that we use the language of faith to help us make sense of this crisis. And we ground our activism in the local communities of which we are a part, bridging that to the international spaces such as the United Nations. Now I'll hand over to Zara to continue remarks on this project.
Thanks so much, Christian. It's so wonderful to be with you all today and to hear the really inspiring and beautiful message from Dr. Iyad at the beginning. Every time I hear Dr. Iyad speaking, it just really warms my heart, and I feel so sort of emboldened to continue this vital work that we're doing. So just to continue what Christian was saying, through our monthly gatherings and our joint initiatives and projects, including our webinars, including our sort of different campaigns that we've done through the council, we draw on stories from 20 different distinct religious traditions and faith traditions and movements across 16 countries, which are represented within our council. And we're hoping to paint a hopeful, future-oriented vision for the future of this planet. And speaking from our personal and collective experiences, hearing these stories has been truly inspiring for us, motivating the climate work and the climate efforts that we're involved in. And we hope that this will also serve as an inspiration and source of inspiration for others to do the same. In terms of why we choose to root this work within the intersection of faith and youth, is because we believe that this intersection is incredibly important, as we know that 84% of the world's population is religious and do follow spiritual and faith traditions, and about half of that is considered youth. There's also the idea that there are not many places and sort of forums where these identities and narratives converge within the climate policy sphere. So we feel that this aspect is incredibly crucial for us to highlight, to amplify, and to anchor our work within young people of faith and trying to document and capture their stories, stories of resilience and power and really inspiring efforts around the world. So we want to change the lack of representation, and the vision for this project is exactly that, to showcase the work of young people leading and participating in the environmental movement and letting them tell their stories of faith and inspiration. And I'll pass back to Christian or Vasu.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you so much, Christian. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. So with this, we are moving forward, and we hope that this can and will be a database with showcases actions, build connections, and inspire hope, and give voice to the new stories of climate movement, so that is desperately needed. It will remain our ongoing project, and we will keep updating it as we move forward. This is important for the summit of UNEA and COP30. So we ask you to please share this with your networks and to bring this to the events to amplify the voices of those doing the work on the ground. It has been a pleasure for Sarah, Christian, and myself to working with the Youth Council on this project. And we want to particularly recognize and appreciate those members who have been active participating in the project team. Vinil, Sarah, Madeline, Asmaira, Shufi, and especially Hannah and Annie Sophie, who will now share the resource. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. So thank you, Zara, Vasu, and Christian, for sharing such thoughtful reflections, and your words really captured the collaborative and interfaith spirit that has guided the Youth Council throughout this journey. So we'll now move to the showcase of the project outputs, featuring Hannah Block and Anne-Sophie Hedegaard. They will introduce the interactive story map, an engaging video storytelling platform that captures youth-led climate actions. Hannah and Anne-Sophie, the floor is yours. So Hannah, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. This story map has been a long time coming, and it's a very special opportunity to present it together today. I serve as an advisor to the Faith for Youth Council, and I've had the honor of supporting this incredible group over the past year. What you'll see today is a result of their vision, creativity, and care. And along with everyone else's beautiful remarks about storytelling and why exactly we chose to collect stories in this way, we, across all our different countries, faiths, and experiences, storytelling kept coming up as a shared practice, whether through sacred texts, oral traditions, rituals, or songs. Stories shape how we understand the world and our place in the world, and our responsibility to it. And because this project is by youth for youth, we wanted a medium that felt resonant, visual, and interactive, something we ourselves would actually want to click through and explore. This question of storytelling really came to the fore last year during our World Mental Health Day webinar, where we explored the emotional and spiritual dimensions of climate action, especially the tension between hope and despair. We ran a live survey during the session and asked, when hope is lost, how do you regenerate it? What emerged most clearly was the relational nature of hope. Youth described looking across, not upward, for inspiration. And they found hope in the actions of others, especially peers, who, even in small and quiet ways, were reclaiming agency, tending to their communities, and living in alignment with their values. That data really planted the seed for this story map, and we want to elevate these stories, not as faraway case studies, but as offerings passed hand to hand across borders and traditions. This story map is not a comprehensive report. I think we kind of felt a collective groan at the idea of producing another report or policy, no matter how valuable those are. It is a collection of lived stories, reflections, images, and voice notes curated with intention and love. And it speaks not only to what is wrong, but what is possible. And it does so in language that young people are already using, grounded, hopeful, courageous, and deeply rooted in faith and values. I will share the story map. And Sophie, do you have anything to add? But big shout out to Anne-Sophie for all of her help going through the responses and carefully curating them for insertion into our story map. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Okay, so we can start our map with Rukia, friend and colleague on the Youth Council, because she starts by telling us the importance of stories. Well, first I'll listen to her voice note. Oh, maybe it won't play. Everyone can explore and experience her beautiful voice note when they explore the map on their own. But reading her first words on storytelling. If I just tell students to care about climate change, they won't listen. They won't resonate with that. I focus on storytelling and sharing my journey. Stories work for me. I try to share stories of myself, and not only myself, but also people who have been successful in this space. Storytelling inspires action. My community's cultural festivals used to unify us, but climate challenges disrupt these. Bringing back cultural practices like storytelling can inspire youth, reconnecting them with their heritage and building resilience. I focus on storytelling and sharing my journey. I show other youth indirectly the values of skills and inspire them to see personal growth beyond personal gain. Many students need a push to understand the value of education and involvement. And so basically how the story map works is each submission to our global survey is entered, although only half have been entered so far. So if you have submitted one, we have not forgotten you. It's just, it takes quite a while to build this map. but we're well on our way. We have the first 20. And so each person has a place on the map. This is Madeline's entry. She's also a youth council member and friend. And I can read one more before you guys explore it on your own. I love her quote. I believe that so many of our faith traditions or cultural traditions offer a different model of community, of land-based practice, and of ritual and time. All of these things offer a moral imperative to act and offer roadmaps to do so. They offer a relationship to ritual that can be politicized to show that we have something wrong in our society. Yeah, and then we have, as you can see, across the globe, many of our submissions from the Global South, which is really, really beautiful. So please feel free to explore it on your own and keep checking it for updates because we will have 20 more beautiful stories in the map soon. But I can pass it on to whoever's next, Sufei.
Hello. I think Anne-Sophie will be the next, but Anne-Sophie, are you going to add something?
Yeah, I'll be next, but I think Iyad has his hand up. No?
Oh, yeah, Anne-Sophie. Yeah, Iyad raised his hand. Yeah, Iyad, please.
No, sorry, it was by mistake. I was sending hearts and clapping. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, then please, Anne-Sophie. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hannah, for showing all of that and for all of your hard work. You've done an amazing job. And thank you for all the people on here who have submitted stories. And yeah, it's just been such a wonderful process. And as you can tell, the map is more than just a map. It's a living archive of stories and visions and faith-inspired action. And yeah, I'm a council member at the Faith for Earth Youth Council. And so I've been part of this project, and trying to like get all the stories together has been super inspirational for me. And my role in this project has focused on like the process of bringing all these stories together by collecting them and curating them and shaping the content that gives the story map its voice. And so I'm going to just share like some of the reflections on what that process looked like the practical work behind it all. Sorry. So when we first began, we quickly realized that the initial survey format wasn't capturing the depth of what young people wanted to say. So we had to redesign the entire process. And so we built a new survey that encouraged participants to think and write through their emotions and their spirituality and their lived experiences, like the ones that Hannah showcased with voice notes. And so the goal was to help them speak from their faith and not just about it. So we added more open-ended prompts and questions about what gives young people hope and how faith sustains them in times of uncertainty and what message they would share with others. And that small design shift made a big difference, and we got a lot more answers as well. And suddenly the stories just came back with a lot of life and just so much like tied to their personal beliefs. And so once the stories started arriving, our work also became equal parts organizing and editing the stories. Each story carried its own way of speaking about the world that reflected both local language and culture and spirituality that we really wanted to respect. So rather than rewriting or formalizing people's stories, we focused on preserving authenticity and therefore ensured that each storyteller's own words and expressions remained intact. And then we organized the material into three sort of broad themes that emerged naturally from reading the stories. So one was faith and resilience, how belief can sustain people through challenges. And the second one was people's concrete climate action stories, so what they're doing in their communities. And then the third one was the young people's hope and vision for the future, how they imagine the world they want to see. And that you can see that on the map, like the way that we've sort of made it into those categories. And at the same time, I reach out to participants to gather photographs and videos, and I can tell some of you are on here and we've texted and I've gotten your photos and all. And it's just been lovely to see photographs from all over the world of young people engaged in climate action. And these personal contributions are also just what brings the stories to life, both visually and spiritually, turning those words into lived experience. And yeah, the outcome is what you see on the story map here on the screen today. And I think one of the central lessons from this process is just the importance of amplifying stories, not just collecting them. Many young people are already doing extraordinary work, but without visibility. Our stories often remain local, shared only within our own communities. But by curating them on a global platform, we give them the reach that they deserve and the attention that all these stories really deserve. And amplification also just amplification, sorry, also does more than celebrate individual effort. It builds solidarity. So when a young activist in Pakistan reads about a Buddhist youth in Mongolia or a Muslim environmentalist in Nigeria, and these are all going to be on the map, they see themselves reflected in a broader movement. And thereby, storytelling becomes a tool of connection, and that connection can fuel collaboration as well. So these stories are not meant to only live online. They're also tools for teaching and reflection and dialogue. So as part of this project, we also hope that these stories can be used in workshops and educational settings, inviting students and teachers and leaders to read a few of the stories and discuss what faith and environmental action mean within their own context. And by doing this, the global issue of climate change becomes personal, relatable, and values-based. Yeah, and I think like looking back, this process has been really creative and inspirational to be part of. It has really reinforced for me how powerful storytelling is, also just as a form of advocacy, because we know that facts, as Yad also said, like facts can inform, but stories really inspire other people, and they reach across faiths and languages and generations. And through this project, we've seen how young people of faith are not just witnesses to climate change, we're also interpretive of it. And we're reframing the crisis through compassion, hope, and spirituality. And essentially, that's what the project is about and what it really stands for, a shared vocabulary of faith, resilience, and action that transcends geography and faith traditions. And so by amplifying all these stories, we're not just building a digital resource, we're creating a collective narrative, one that can be used in classrooms and communities and interfaith dialogues around the world. And so ultimately, this project reminds us that changing how we talk about the climate crisis is in itself an act of change. And when we tell our stories and listen to others, we make that hope also visible. So thank you so much for all your stories.
Thank you. Thank you, Hannah, and thank you, Anne-Sophie, for that inspiring presentation. And Hannah, could you please stop sharing your screen? Okay, thank you. So the story map beautifully demonstrates how storytelling can connect people across faith, regions, and generations. And we are now open the floor for a short Q&A session. And I'm going to use the spotlight function for all our speakers so that if there's any audiences want to ask questions, please raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourself. Perhaps you can't unmute yourself. So please raise your hand or type your questions in the chat box, and let's have a short interactive session here. So please, if you have any questions, we can start to answer here. Yeah, because Anne-Sophie used to tell us there are so many chats sending to your WhatsApp. Okay, is there anybody? Okay, Zara, please.
I just want to ask, Hannah, what was the most surprising sort of thing that you found in developing this project? What were you most surprised by and inspired by?
That's a really great question. First, a surprise, the software that we used, it's a software from ArcGIS, and it turns out I have a subscription through my university, but it turns out it's just crazy expensive to get otherwise. And it felt like a reflection kind of like the inequity of resource distribution worldwide, because ultimately, like, I had to compile the map because I had the resource through my university that otherwise, like, we couldn't even. I tried to get a discount for UNEP to work with it for the Faith for Earth Coalition. Ultimately, it was just too expensive. So that was like a really tangible moment of like, like, yeah, kind of like holding the subscription to this expensive software. That being said, it was such a beautiful opportunity to be able to also be the one to input everybody's stories because I learned so much from everyone. I feel like I know all of these beautiful people so intimately. I'm sure Anne-Sophie, you feel the same since we went through all of their stories so many times. So just one thing that kept coming up when I was entering the advice was most youth emphasized the importance of small actions. And I think that's just so important to remember because paralysis really comes when you think about, oh my gosh, the world is ending, like we're in crisis. What can I possibly do? And so many youth had just such grounded answers about just do whatever little bit you can. And that really inspired me to keep working in what I do because I can't, no one can lift the weight of the world, but we can all take little steps. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. That's a wonderful question.
Thank you. Do we have more questions from our audiences today? Okay, no. Okay, then. If you still have more questions, just please feel free to type it in the chat box and we can answer it later. So next, I'm honored to invite Mariana Osipova, the Youth and Education Specialist for UNEP, to deliver the conclusion remarks reflecting on the Youth Council's contributions and the broader impact of youth storytelling for people and the planet. So Mariana, please, the floor is yours. Hello, Mariana, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear. I think my network is not very stable. I apologize for that. And also, I think there are some questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you want to address them now or after I share my concluding remarks.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice that. Oh, yes, there is a Q&A session, so I can read it for them, and some of our speakers may want to answer it. Sorry about that. So the first question will be Mr. Gomes. Sorry, I'm not sure whether I pronounced your name right. So I'm very happy and moved to be here with all of you. We're living in a very symbolic moment in Brazil with the COP, and I hope you can keep amplifying voices around the world. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining our webinar tonight. And I believe all of it will support you. Okay, thank you. So the next one will be Rabita Raman. Your question is, what are some of the most effective ways for youth storytellers to continue engaging with UNEP Faith for Earth after this project? Are these platforms for long-term collaboration or mentorship? So does any speaker want to answer this question? Yeah, you can just unmute yourself. Yeah. Let me paste this question. Okay, Christian, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for being with us, Rabita. It's really, really lovely to have you here. Your question is a pertinent one, and I think it's very, very important. One of the things that we are seeking to do as a youth council, following Dr. Iyad's retirement from the UN system, as he mentioned at the beginning, is to continue this sort of gathering, these sorts of conversations, this sorts of platforming stories. So perhaps I do not yet have a concrete answer for you in terms of what specifically that will look like, but I can tell you that this platform will continue. This is an incomplete map that Hannah and Sophia have brilliantly presented to us. As Hannah mentioned, we have 20 more stories which will be uploaded, and it will certainly be filled up, and we will at some stage in the near future reopen the survey as well to allow for more stories to be submitted. So this platform will not be going anywhere, and we will have more announcements on sort of what specifically we as a group of young people will be doing into the future. In terms of making sure that the stories of young people from around the world, of faith in particular, are continue to be amplified and spread and highlighted in various international fora, including, as Vasu said, at UNEA 7 in December, at COP30 and beyond. And I think maybe one of the other points that I wanted to raise, which I think you brought up, was effectiveness. One question that may be immediately obvious is, or sort of that may immediately spring to mind, is that, what's the point of telling these stories? All this is an interactive online database in a world that is often defined by a clamor for concrete interventions, concrete technical policy proposals. Finance is a big thing Hannah was mentioning. And I just want to echo Dr. Iyad's words from the beginning, that this is a declaration of hope from individuals around the world. This is us saying that we are not yet ready to give up, and we are ready to start small, and we are starting small. And a fair number of us are doing work that is being highlighted and featured at the international level, because a number of us represented in this call are at these conferences. We are at COP. We are at these spaces where we can share your stories and share these testimonies with individuals who do have money, who do have perhaps a little bit more direct political influence or experience in this space. And so the most effective way is to continue telling your stories, to continue engaging with us, is to continue being part of this movement that we are trying to build. And we promise you that those of us who, by virtue of our professional positions, are in these policymaking spaces, will continue to amplify them. And those of us who are working on within our grassroots communities will share your experiences with those around us to inspire other forms of action. So by continuing to be part of this process, you are being effective.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian, for answering this question. And thank you for Rabita to ask this question. It's really valuable. So do we still have more questions? Yes, I see there's no more questions in the QA chat, in the QA session. And just like as I said, if you still have more questions, just please type in the chat box and we can continue to discuss it. So let's go to the final session. I'm going to introduce Mariana again. So next, I'm honored to invite Mariana Osipova, the Youth and Education Specialist for UNEP, to deliver the conclusion remarks. Reflecting on the Youth Council's contributions and the broader impact of youth storytelling for people and the planet. So let's welcome Mariana. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if you can see me. Seems like there is a problem with my camera. Sorry for that. So thank you very much for inviting me. I think it's the second time this year that I meet with some of you. I think I was attending another workshop or webinar you were organizing. So first of all, I really wanted to appreciate all the work that Iyad and his team Asmaira have been doing for so many years. I joined UNEP only last year as a young talent pipeline UN volunteer, as a youth education specialist, as was announced already. And Faith for Youth Council has been one of the projects that I have been hearing a lot. And why? Because when I came, one of my tasks was also to ensure that UNEP is well coordinated internally on what we're doing for youth, right? So I'm still actually co-chairing the internal youth working group at UNEP. which brings different youth focal points from different divisions and offices together to work and collaborate. And Faith for Youth Youth Council has always been with us, Mariniat, very active members of this group, always sharing updates and contributing to our reporting, you know, and all these things. So that's how my interest in what you are doing has also been sparked. And this mapping that you did and this challenge is also interestingly coincided very timely with another initiative that I have been having the privilege of coordinating, and maybe some of you even saw it. It's a Where Nature Youth Biodiversity Challenge, which for now has been tested and piloted in Kenya and South Africa, but with a bigger vision of course, scaling this up to many other different countries. Yeah, in this project, we leverage on the technology tool, right, which is a WhatsApp nature buddy. Basically, it's a WhatsApp chatbot. And why I'm mentioning this is because for us as UNEP is very important to reach young people where they are, right? And Faith for Earth Youth Council is clearly one of the many examples how UNEP is reaching people where they are, right? In faith communities, in your case. And for some other programmatic work we're doing, we're working with video gaming industry, Playing for the Planet. You can check their website. This is working with organizations, video game companies, to develop nature positive kind of content, right, and also spark behavior change, as most of the users and players of video games are under 35, right? So we're working with sports industries as well. Sports, again, so many young people are involved in sports. And now with this Where Nature Youth Biodiversity Challenge, we're also reaching young people in Kenya and South Africa through WhatsApp because, again, based on science and data that we have, this is the social media where the platform where young people in these two countries spend most of their time. So I just really wanted to highlight that UNEP is willing to go where young people are, which is very exciting, right? Because in some organizations, sometimes you, I mean, we don't want to do business as usual. Yeah, we're also trying our best to explore creative ways of engaging youth. And your map that you have developed is an amazing example of capturing, right, these practices and voices. And it again reminded me of what we're doing with also capturing young Kenyans and South Africans biodiversity and nature actions through our current project. We also developed what we call the action cards. So they're not anywhere live yet. So this is our ambition and scale up goal to also make sure these actions are there publicly available so that young people and peers can also get inspired and join the movement. So I think we really need to discuss and elaborate further how we can work together on that in future as we kind of strive to also live in harmony with nature, right, and make this world a better space for young people and also for all generations and people of all backgrounds. And just finally, I know we still have time, but my closing remarks were supposed to be quite short. So I just wanted to encourage you to participate in UNER 7 if you can, and in the Global Youth Environment Assembly that will be preceding the UNER. I know that registration is actually still ongoing until end of October. You still can register as a self-funded participant. There have been some consultations going on. I hope you all participated because it's important to be also in other spaces, right? As Christian said, you have access to bigger platforms, but it also depends on your interests and what you want to pursue. And for UNEP and UN system as a whole, of course, it's also, there's a long journey, right, in terms of how we actually institutionalize meaningful youth engagement, right? There are policies, there are practices, but still there is a long way to go. And some of the member states who we're helping directly, right, because UNEP's mandate is to help its member states to achieve the sustainability measures, right, and goals. And member states also acknowledge the importance of meaningful youth engagement and youth action. So hopefully at UNEA, there will be some important decisions that can help institutionalize this. And of course, as UNEP, we are supporting member states and civil society organizations to achieve these goals. So thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariana. That was very inspiring. So your reflections remind us how valuable youth engagement is in advancing UNEP's mission and amplifying youth voices for the planet. And I just saw that there is a question in the chat box, and I will read it for you. So Ellie asks that assist us with clarity on how our initiatives can be onboarded on alumni network. So I just shared a link of our interactive map, and this is what we can see updated right now, and there will be more updated in these days. And if you still want to connect with us and want to collaborate with the Youth Council in the future, even though after the closure of our coalition, I would like to suggest that you can contact with like CYMG, and they will continually focusing on doing the work that just like what we have done currently. So perhaps our coaches from youth councils may answer this question into more details, like introduce many other things after our youth council closes. So perhaps there will be more collaborations for these organizations that they want to have. So Christian, Zara, or Vasu, do you have any suggestions for this one? Okay, Zara, please.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for your question. So just to clarify, the closure of the wider Faith for Earth coalition does not mark the end of the sort of youth council. I mean, it marks the end of the youth council in its current iteration, but Christian, Vasu, and I are very committed to continuing the work of the council in a different sort of format, which we are trying to sort of figure out how to take this forward. And you know, we will be sharing that process with you all. But there will be plenty of opportunities to collaborate with us and to support this movement moving forward. So there are no plans to end the efforts, and I think this Language of Our Generation challenge has shown us the importance of this work, and especially in amplifying the stories of marginalized communities across the global south, and sharing their stories and telling their stories within different spaces and policy spaces. But we're not in any sort of we're not in any way sort of closing this the council. It will just be taking up a different shape or form.
Okay, thank you, Zara. So up to now. Oh, Vasu, please. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. And we also would like to share with you that tomorrow we have the World Mental Health Day webinar. So we are continuing doing this work, and we want always to connect with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vasu. So since we don't have more questions, please, yes.
Sorry, just to echo what Vasu was saying, tomorrow is World Mental Health Day, which is a day that we have observed for the last few years with our different engagements. And we are planning a special webinar, which will be from 2 p.m. till 3:45 p.m. UK time, British BST. So if you are interested, there is a Teams link that can be circulated in the chat. And we'd love to have you there. We'll be exploring mental health and the intersection between mental health and humanitarian emergencies, and the importance of mental health, especially within faith communities, and how faith and spiritual traditions support mental health and well-being. So we'd be delighted to have you with us, which will be our final webinar as the Youth Council currently. But of course, in the future, we hope to do more in a different form.
Okay, thank you. I just shared this link for tomorrow's webinar, which will be led by Zara in our chat box, and you can just click it and join us tomorrow. And there's another audience ask, how can I stay connected? Please provide link. So do you have any resources to share, Zara or Vasu?
Sorry, staying connected with us in a
like after
sense, or?
I think this person means after the wider youth council closes, how can we stay connected with other youth organizations like us right now?
I mean, I think Christian, Vasu, and I are sort of figuring out how to take it forward. So I think we can potentially share our email addresses or something if possible to stay connected. Depending on what sort of what is being asked.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, since I'll send all of you messages of the recording and our team linking and other resources, the link for the map after we have this webinar. So don't worry, I will share many resources with you as soon as possible after we finish it. So thank you for your questions, and thank you, Zara. Thank you, Vasu, for your answers for these questions. So I think we can wrap up. So today's event has shown that the language. Oh yeah, Christian, please. Yeah.
No, just to conclude, I just really wanted to thank you all for being here. This has been a project that has been in development for over 15 months, and it's really such an honor to see this come to fruition. And it's really all because of you who have filled this out. And I also want to extend a special welcome to Dr. Iyad and the Faith for Earth team for your support throughout this process, not only for this project, but more generally for including youth voices in not only meetings, but actual decision-making processes. I mean, your team exemplifies what true inclusion means in the environmental space, and I know I speak for many members of the council that this particular method of involvement has really enabled us to be present of these, be part of these discussions and physically present in many instances where these discussions are happening, but also given us the platform to share the story. So thank you to you. Thank you also to Mariana for your role in the UNEP Youth Office. It truly exemplifies, and it's the approach that we need to take, I think, in the environmental governance movement, where everyone is coming together for true intergenerational dialogue on solutions and sharing stories and sharing inspiration. And again, to echo you again, Dr. Ia, to declare our hope that there are ways to address this global crisis. So thank you to you both. Thank you also to everyone who has been part of this call. It has truly been a pleasure to meet some of you virtually, to read your stories on the database, and the best way of staying in touch really is to follow the links in the chat, where we have posted the link to the interactive map. We have posted the link to the webinar that will be hosted tomorrow, and we will be in touch with further details on what this movement will look like going forward. So thank you all. Thank you, Shufei, as well, for your organization of this event.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions to follow up? Okay, Rabita, please.
I just wanted to.
You can.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, please. Hi, I saw you raise your hand. Are you going to share something to us? Ooh, we lost you. Okay. It was accident. Okay, no worries. So, no, any other comments? No, any other questions or follow up? No? Oh, okay, Zara, please.
Just wanted to say a big thank you to Hannah and Anne-Sophie for diligently reading through all the stories that were submitted, and really sort of getting to the heart of those stories and what they were trying to capture, and to sort of organize them accordingly with the different headings and matching them up with the photographs and everything. It's we really appreciate all your hard work and your efforts. And Shufei, thanks so much for moderating the session as well. And we're really excited that this is, just the beginning for us. This is not the end. We're really excited to take this forward. I think, again, just to reiterate, this project really shows us how much these kind of initiatives are needed in amplifying these stories and telling these stories, because in the sort of global geopolitical landscape that we're living in, geopolitical tensions and a lot of the tragedies that we're witnessing, we need to remain resilient and hopeful. And these stories allow us to lean into that resilience and that gratitude. And yeah, we really appreciate all your support and for everyone being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. So as we're approaching time, I'm going to go to the final session. Today's event has shown the language of our generational challenge is more than a project echoed to everybody. It's a living testament to the power of faith, storytelling, and youth leadership in shaping a more sustainable future. And last but not least, just as Zara just shared, the Youth Council would like to share another thing to all of you, that we're going to have the celebration of the World Mental Health Day tomorrow. And you are very welcome to join us, to join the meeting. And this webinar will be moderating by Zara. And I just shared the team link in the chat box, and I will share it again after we finish this webinar. You can also find the poster and some content about it on our social media platform like Instagram and X as well. And thank you again for joining us, and wish you all have a wonderful day or evening or the rest of the day ahead. Thank you so much. Bye. I'm going to finish this event. Bye.